paper boy and finally breaking into a run, not slowing until he reached the wrought iron enclosure of the Royal Adelaide Hospital. "Where have you been?" his brother asked, barely out of breath. Alastair was waiting outside the hospital gates. A foot propped up behind him as he leant against the fence. He was smoking a cigarette, the thin tube of paper dangling precariously from his mouth. He took a deep puff and then gradually stubbed it out. Wetting the tip with a glob of spittle, he slid the smoke into a pocket. "Where did you get that from?" asked Ross. "It's a free country." Alastair beckoned him to the fence. 3 nurses, dressed in their walking-out clothes, long black capes and caps with floppy bows tied under their chins, stopped to help a sobbing woman who spoke with the same German accent as their housekeeper. "Another one for the dead house," said Alastair. "You know when they chop someone's leg or arm off, they bury it in the big hole behind the hospital." "They do not," said Ross, trying to match his brother's stride. "Do so? Where else are they going to put him?" "I think I killed a man," admitted Ross, trying to stop tears from filling his eyes. "He fell on his head, and there was blood and everything." Alastair's face lit up. "I didn't see the blood." "It was there. Lots of it," said Ross solemnly. "They hang you for killing people, Alastair. You were just crossing the road." His older brother pushed him forwards, and together they followed on the heels of an elderly man with a slight limp, Alastair dragging his left foot as he mimicked him. "Even if you did kill him, it wasn't your fault. And if it was, the police would be after you, wouldn't they?" Ross wasn't convinced. "I suppose so." "And can you see any police?" The street was busy with traffic, and the people riding normal bicycles rang tiny bells so you'd know when they were overtaking. Maybe his brother was right. The problem with being 8 years old was that you didn't know everything. It was a very bad age. Alastair said that there was all manner of things that only became knowable and interesting once you turned the magical age of 12, which was, Ross thought, rather convenient for his older brother. "When I'm your age, do you think Father will let us go north to visit Waybell Station?" "If you still want to go," said Alastair. "Don't you? It's a long way. Father's not even been there." "That's why we should," said Ross. "One day I'll be just like MacDougall Stewart, the most famous Scotsman in the world. Across the desert, explore country no white man's ever seen, and float down alligator-infested rivers. They're called crocodiles, Ross." Alastair picked up a stick and began using it like a sword, wheeling it back and forth, stabbing at the air. "We can dive for pearls and go back to the property at night," Ross continued. "You have to come with me, Alastair. Promise." Without answering, his brother ran ahead. When they stopped a few minutes later, it was outside a stone wall. They stared through an open side gate at the long 2-story building that sat atop a rise. Wings extended from the main doorway, which was flanked by gabled windows, and a vine crawled across the face of the structure. "I'm not going in there," said Ross. "It's full of mad people." "That's why we have to go, Ross." "But if we get caught—" "One look. Promise." They loitered near the gate as a gardener loaded clippings and branches into a horse-drawn dray. He worked methodically, shoveling shrub trimmings and leaves in first, before throwing the longer lengths of brushwood on top, so that the smaller, finer rubbish wouldn't blow away. Alastair sat on the ground and took off his shoe. While the gardener worked, he removed the laces and then slowly re-threaded them through the punched leather holes, making a show of checking the length before tying a neat bow. "We'll be here all night if he doesn't hurry up." It was cold in the lee of the wall. The air pricked Ross's bare legs as he hoped for the dray to break down or for the horse to go lame. The asylum was on Alastair's list of things to be done, which meant that sooner or later they would have to go inside. But he'd always hoped it wouldn't happen, at least not while he was still a boy. Alastair's list was comprised of a series of tests he devised after reading about the feats given to the Greek god Hercules. Ross blamed their tutor, Mr. Story. The 4-eyed teacher was more obsessed with the Greeks than Alastair was. Overhead, the boughs of a tree reached across the wall. Shapes seemed to nestle in the leaves above. Ross imagined 9-headed monsters and enormous bulls, for his brother had taught him to see Greek stories in everything. But the problem with Alastair's myths was that they were all make-believe, a place of gods and mortals.